Hi you guys, this is Allison. I'm hanging out in my space to craft and I'm in between page kits. So I need to pull some page kits. I have an idea, so I may do that next. But I have really enjoyed participating in the Ginger's Corner ephemera swaps. Of course, I need to start using some of my ephemera. But there's one coming up that is called Slice of Summer, and anything summer related is acceptable. Well, I haven't really done a lot of stamping for my swaps so far. I've done die cuts and Cricut things and stuff like that. So I thought I would pull out some of my stamps. So these are all the ones that are sort of summer vacation related. That's where I categorize them. So I've used this one relatively recently, and I use that a lot for cruises. So I'm going to set that one aside. I really like this Hello Summer sentiment, and I like these food items. So that might be something cute on a stitch circle or something that says Hello Summer, and then sort of add some fun food, and then you can always include some extra ice cream cones or whatever for around the page. So I like that idea. Here's an I Love Summer sentiment here that's real cute. I've used this recently, so I won't use that. This is real cute, this hose. That might be something cute. I don't know, thinking about that. Oh, I like the little birdie too. I need to remember that's on there. This one's cute, not specifically summer. I could pair it with maybe on this paddleboard. So that might be cute to do a paddleboard ephemera and an oar. So something like that might be cute. And then I have this, which is from my favorite things. And there's this cute palm tree with a little island that I think is real cute. I would stamp it and then color it. And then there's a little cute little hermit crab that you could put on there, or in the little bucket. Couple things on the little island. So, there's also a cute little crab. I think I'm going to do this one. I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to try this one for sure. And then let's finish that one, and depending on how I'm feeling, maybe I'll do 2 swaps. I haven't signed up for this one yet, so I could potentially sign up for 2 spots. So I may do that. I may. So this one and this one, I think, are my 2 leading contenders, but I'll see what happens. So, spoiler alert, I do only make the 1 set so far. I mean, I may go back and make a 2nd set before the swap is finished, but so I'm looking for white paper, and lesson learned, test out your alcohol markers on your cardstock because some of them that I made, I ended up using by accident 2 different pieces of white cardstock. One of them, when I was making the other sets after this video, one of them bled a lot. And so I had to find the same cardstock on the ones that didn't bleed as much. So some cardstock will really absorb that alcohol ink and show it up as bleeding, and others will not. So I was just showing you my impressible there that I use to sort of help. I got that off mememadeit.com. It's handmade, and they use like a different shaped votive candle holders for the handle, and they're really pretty neat.
and comfortable to use. So here I'm just stamping it out, and I can't tell you the brand name of the cardstock that worked for me, but just do a test on your cardstocks of your alcohol inks and see what bleeds and what doesn't bleed. It wasn't a big deal. I colored about half of one palm tree before I realized that it was not looking great. And so I restamped. I looked at the papers more carefully and restamped. So here I'm just doing the two little critters and the little bucket. And I'll stamp those. I did restamp those also because they were on the same, we'll just call it bleedy paper. So this is a Tim Holtz stamp platform, and it's really useful. So here I tested some. I looked at my regular markers, and I just didn't have all the right colors that I wanted in there. Like I don't have any reds in my old Stampin' Up markers. I either used them all up or just didn't ever have the right reds in that. So I decided to use alcohol markers. And on this first one, I do the slightly darker first, and then I come in with the lighter. And in subsequent ones, I did the lighter first, then the darker, and then came back in to blend with the lighter. And that seemed actually to work a little better. Similar effect. But it just was easier for me to color the whole thing in with the lighter first, and then go in with the darker to do shadowing and edging and stuff like that. So I am being careful not to go across the ink lines, because this is just Stampin' Up! Regular ink. It's not archival ink. This would have worked better with archival ink, or had I embossed after I stamped. Then you don't have the bleeding issues or any issues with the ink, bleeding or blending into the alcohol markers. I did simplify this on my subsequent ones. I just did the outline of the tree instead of all the little cross hatch marks. And I liked that look a little better. This one looks fine though. And then I have a couple of different greens that I will do for the palm tree. I may do the coconuts first. Yeah, and that's like a burnt sienna color. So I'm using two colors for the palm trees. The lighter, and then I just do the outline of the bottom part of the leaf with a darker color, and then I blend that in. And it just gives it some depth and dimension. And I try to do that consistently. Sometimes I mess up and I start with the darker one first and put it on the wrong leaf, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. You're just coloring it in. And this whole video is at 3.5 times speed. So I did take some time to do this. It was pretty, see, I did the wrong color, but I'll make it work. That's my biggest challenge in coloring, is remembering where I'm putting which color. So just use the lighter color to blend that in. So you can see it doesn't take too terribly long. I'm doing it all relatively simple. I'm not an expert colorist by any stretch of the imagination. Just adding a little more blending. All right, and now I'm ready to color the critters. So I have two reds. They're real close to each other, but it does give a little bit of depth and dimension by putting the lighter one. I colored everything with the lighter one, and then the legs, the underside of the claws, and then an outline of the body I did in the darker. And then I just come in with this darker. Oh, sorry, that was a loud truck. So I'm just looking at it to see if I like it, and it's pretty cute. And you can still see the little eyes and everything. Nothing's bled out too much. And then I'm going to use two coral colors for the little hermit crab. I don't know what color hermit crabs really are. And then for his shell, I'm going to use a gray and a kind of turquoise and blend those together. So I do the gray first, just sort of outline of the shell, and then come in with the blue. Couple of rounds of that. It looks pretty cute. And then the bucket. So first I get my fussy cutting scissors, which are some Fisker spring-loaded scissors. I like them. The blade's not too short, and so you get a decent range with them. And the way I hold it at an angle so that I can see the line that I'm cutting, because, you know, I'm old and half blind. And then I can just turn the paper. And that really is the easiest way to fussy cut. If I'm getting too much scrap paper around the outside, I just snip that part off so that it's easier to manage and manipulate. None of these were too terribly complicated to fussy cut. I did try to get a little bit of detail around the little crab's legs, but not too much. So the fussy cutting did not take that long. And here, the reason I'm doing this is I'm like, oh, maybe I don't need that bucket, but I do end up doing it in the end. So I decided to fussy cut these out first and see how I felt about it and decide if I needed the bucket. And I just felt that to make sure it read summer and not just tropical, I wanted that play bucket. So you get to see me fussy cut. I will not make you watch me fussy cut other things, just one copy of each. In fact, I do end this video before I finish the coloring and completion of the 4 sets, but you do get to see one complete set. And I like a really, really thin halo when I cut. Sometimes that causes me trouble if I mess up. And I feel like I have to cut into some of those details. But so that's cute. And yes, I can't really fit the third item on there, but I want to give the 4 items just so that if they want to spread out, put the Krabby somewhere else on their page or something like that, that they can do that. So for this, I'm using yellow dots and then a different turquoise than I used for the hermit crab. And then a really dark turquoise for the rim of the bucket. And then for some of them, I did the dark turquoise for the little shovel. And then for some, I did yellow for the shovel, so it would just show up a little bit better. All right, so this is the last of it, and I'll just hold them up to the camera so you can get a good look at them. I did make 4 total of these, and they'll be swapped on Ginger's Corner, so go there if you would like to participate in the swap. I think the sign-ups for this swap will be on Sunday. So, cute little scene maker. Thanks for watching, you guys.